Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. Now, normally we have our preview and review videos, and sometimes a player interview occasionally. However, something very, very interesting has happened that is, Rick, would you agree is long overdue?
Man, this is way long overdue.
Jones has been fired, head coach of the Edmonton Elks. Now, will we always cover a head coach being fired? No. However, it's one of those things where, man, this one, people have been calling for his head. The pitchforks have been out for years. And you may wonder, why is that? Why is that, Carter? Why is it like that? Well, 8-33 might be why. I mean, Chris Jones was the head coach of this team when they were really at their worst, and they were just getting nowhere. We're talking about the infamous no wins at home Edmonton Elks, where they went, what was it, 2 full seasons? It was at least 1 full season, where it took them, I think, 2 years after changing their name from the Edmonton Eskimos to the Edmonton Elks for them to finally get a win at home in Commonwealth. It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
Do you know how long exactly it took or no? I'm trying to remember. It was
for the win at home.
Yeah, it was. They didn't get that till last year.
Something like that.
They changed their name in 2020, I think, because that was during the canceled year. I believe they changed it. So it's 2.5 years. So it just was just abysmal. And if we look at even just his tenure. I think he's gone 4-19 in the past 23 games or something like that. It was something along those lines, but it's just bad. Yeah, no, he went 4-14 and then last year, and then he went 0-5 this year before, of course.
And then he went 4. So he's gone 8-33 in 3 seasons
total. Yeah,
total.
And now this is something that you sent me, Rick, and I found this very interesting. This is the last 5 years in the Edmonton Elks. 2 GMs, 3 team presidents, 4 head coaches, and a whole lot of losing.
Well, keep in mind, so the first coach was from 16 to 19. That was Jason Moss for 3 years.
Yep. Scott
Milanovich technically didn't coach him because that was the canceled season.
Yep.
Then Jamie Elizondo did 1 year. Chris Jones comes in for 3. Now you have Jarius Jackson as their OC and head coach, and former BC Line receiver Geroy Simon as the interim GM.
Yeah. Now here's the interesting thing. Was that there was wonder if Edmonton would do this in the offseason. Now, one of the big wonders to this was because everyone obviously knows that after Craig it's Dave Dickinson in Calgary, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so after Craig Dickinson was fired from Saskatchewan as their head coach, the question was then who was going to replace him. And there was kind of this two-headed race between Corey Mace, defensive coordinator of the Toronto Argonauts at the time, and the offensive coordinator, Buck Pierce, of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Obviously, Corey Mace won that race, and Corey Mace has done very well with Saskatchewan, and it really looks like he's changed the culture there in Saskatchewan all for the better. Now, the question is, if Edmonton fires Chris Jones, would they have went after a guy like Buck Pierce, considering he was kind of one of the top guys out there who was, a coach but not a head coach and maybe possibly looking for that promotion? Again, obviously, he'd stay with the Bombers. He's still here in Winnipeg. And the offense is finally starting to get going. It's kind of taken a while. But I'm curious exactly how the Elks deal with this come the offseason. After this season, if they look for something else. I think this is really going to depend on the head coach performance by, who is this again? Who is the interim head coach?
The interim coach is Jarius Jackson. He used to be the backup quarterback in BC, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Keep in mind, there are rumors that someone, I don't know if it's a group or a person or whatnot, that they're privately buying the Edmonton Elks. So here is the other thing.
Yes, we've
Do
heard of
you
the possibility of a sale.
do you wait until the off season, like you mentioned, and fire him then, or does before the new owner takes over, do they not want that baggage and say, okay, well, before we take over, we want Chris Jones gone, and we want to be able to kind
Maybe they
of
were
like
just waiting
what?
for him to lose enough games so they could fire him. Like he's.
Well, no, because you still have to pay him. I'm assuming for the rest of the season, because I can't even remember. You know what? I'm actually quite interested in see.
Yeah, this is why it's kind of more risky because the margins aren't quite. So unless Chris Jones takes a job elsewhere, Edmonton still has to. And when I say elsewhere, I mean in within like the CFL. If he takes one outside the CFL, I don't know if that's the same. The reason why I say this, or if it depends on if it's like a paid position, and I'll tell you why. Because if we look at towards hockey, for an example, everyone remembers head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, formerly the Detroit Red Wings. Before that, Mike Babcock. He signed this big deal with Toronto, was making tons of money.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Yeah,
he then gets fired because of kind of some controversies around
behind the locker room. Yeah,
in the locker room, and him telling players to say who he thinks was like trying like the least hardest. I think he did this to Mitch Marner, and Mitch Marner's like, "What the hell? I have to kind of like screw, like I have to crap all over my teammates. Like this is not team bonding. What the hell is this?" So Babcock gets fired. Then Babcock goes and coaches the University of Saskatchewan hockey team. This is why when I actually went to a U of M Bisons game, because we have a family friend who's on the U of M Bisons, University of Manitoba Bisons. They were the coach on the other bench was Mike Babcock. But the thing was is that it was because he was still getting paid by the Leafs. Now, if he goes to another team in the NHL, then I believe that contract. I don't know if that contract still needs to be, get paid for, because I don't think. Because the thing is that if it's like an NHL buyout, and the player goes to another team, the buyout he's still getting paid, but that's initiated by the team. You know what I mean? If he signs somewhere else and it's not a situation like that, I don't know if he still has to get. It's really complicated, and the CFL might be a little bit different than the NHL in that regard. I'd have to look into that. If anyone has the answers regarding that, that would be awesome.
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure this was his contract year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, because I know he renewed at the end of next season for this season.
Yeah.
No. But it's interesting to see, because I'm trying to find it up now, and I can't find anything of it, because it's all, oh, he was fired, Chris Jones fired, Chris Jones fired. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure...
Now, one thing I do want to kind of go through is who are the Edmonton Elks going to be getting here? If we look at Jarius Jackson, I'm just going to kind of go through a bit of his stuff here from his Wikipedia page. 47 years old from Tupelo, Mississippi. Went to college at Notre Dame. Drafted to the NFL by the Denver Broncos. If we look at his playing career, he played in 2000 for the Denver Broncos, 2001 for the Barcelona Dragons over in the NFL Europe. And then he played for the Denver Broncos once again in 2001 to 2003. Played 2005 to 2011 for the BC Lions. And then in 2012, he had won 2 Grey Cups with BC in 2006 and 2011. Then won in 2012. It says here that he won in 2012. With the Argonauts. And then once won the Grey Cup in 2015, this time as a coach. If we look at his coaching career, 2013, he was the quarterback coach for the BC Lions. 2014 and 15, he was the QB coach for the Edmonton Eskimos. Obviously, won the Grey Cup that year. 2016-17, he was a QB coach for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Then he would get a promotion going into the 2018-2019 season as he would become the BC Lions offensive coordinator / quarterback coach. Then in 2020-2021, he was the Toronto Argonauts offensive coordinator / QB coach. Then he would go back in 2022-2023 to just being a QB coach, it looks like, for the Elks. Then would become the offensive coordinator the next year in 2023 / QB coach. And now he will be the interim head coach of the Edmonton Elks in a 2024 season, now midway through. And so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. As this will be his first real kick at the can as a head coach, and I'm really, really curious the kind of culture that he establishes in that locker room in a team that has kind of been starved to success, and a team that's being able to play games and get so close on so many occasions, but just not being able to get over the hump. Maybe he's able to get it done. If he does, I think if he is able to get it done, then maybe this is the guy you keep around, and that interim title gets dropped, and he's just the head coach of the Edmonton Elks. So,
well, because then you look at G. Roy Simon.
Yep.
So he played for the Steelers and Buccaneers 97-98. He played for your Blue Bombers in 99-2000.
That's right.
Then he went to BC from 01 to 12. Played for Saskatchewan for 1 year. Then in 14, he became the area scout.
Yep.
15-16, he became the player business developer advisor.
Yep.
17, he became the director of CIS scouting and player or personnel assistant for BC Lions.
Yep.
Then he became the director of Canadian scouting and CFL draft coordinator. So you know he has CFL scouting background. Then in 2021, he became the director of global scouting and U.S. regional scout for BC. And then in 2022-24, he was the assistant GM, and now he's the GM. So you can bet you he's going to be making changes.
Absolutely.
In Edmonton.
And honestly, that's needed. I think they need a new voice in that locker room. They need to be able to, it's the status quo is what this team is like. That's what it feels like they've gotten used to, and they need something else.
Also, Jackson's already come out and said that McLeod Bethel Thompson is his guy.
Okay. Well, no, I think that is important. I think him going in and immediately completely toppling your top quarterback is not ideal. And again, even though the fans were chanting for Trey Ford, and it would be nice to see more Trey Ford, I do think even if Bethel Thompson is your guy, I think seeing more Trey Ford is good. Kind of in a similar situation where, as much as I love Collaros, I'd love to see Strebler a little bit more than we are now.
Now that you mention that, I'm going to look something up.
Okay.
Go ahead, continue.
But yeah, no, I think that even though, it's good that Bethel Thompson's his guy. And even the thing is that even if he's not, it's hard to make a full flip on that mid-season, and so I don't think it's wise to immediately come to, as much as Chris Jones I don't think was a good coach. I'm sorry, I just don't. Even though he's had success in the past, I'm in our Lord's year 2024. Is Chris Jones a good coach? My answer, not really. It's just, again, he's been good in the past, but just hasn't been able to get it done. It's kind of the same way that if we're talking about hockey, Ken Holland as general manager, he was good when the salary cap didn't exist. Now that it does, not so good, which is why he is
the
Edmonton.
The interesting thing is,
yep.
Ready here for some more news?
Yep.
This is the contract year for Trey Ford. How much you want to make a bet Trey Ford goes UFA in the offseason, and then he's going to be the big signing? What did
you say about Trey Ford? Contractors?
So this is Trey Ford's contract year. Which means
his last year, yeah.
When you're drafted in the CFL, I'm pretty sure you get a 3-year rookie contract.
Is it 3? This is his. I thought it was 2. I thought it was 2 years from when you sign it. I thought it was
because I don't see anything about him re-signing, so that's why I'm thinking it's a 3-year deal.
Well, because he may not have. Well, you have to realize he may not have signed. Guys don't always sign a contract right away after getting drafted. You know what I mean?
So you got to remember, he played 22, 23, and 24. So this is his 3rd year. So this is his season year. So the thing is, coming into the offseason, if I was straightforward, I wouldn't be re-signing with Edmonton.
No.
I'd be going somewhere else and getting playing time.
The only way I'd be re-signing in Edmonton is if you got assurances, okay, Bethel Thompson's gone, and I am the number one guy, no ifs, ands, or buts. And I think the way you do that if you're Trey Ford is by asking for QB1 money. You know what I mean?
But it's not even that. I would not be re-signing. If I was straightforward, I'd be waiting to see who the GM and head coach is before I even re-sign.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I don't think that would be a bad situation. Teams like Toronto might be interested, depending on the Chad Kelly situation and how that goes.
I would say us, but we already know who our future quarterback is.
There's that. It's funny. There's been a lot of fans in Calgary really starting to sour on Jake Mayer. So maybe he goes to the enemy. He goes to the Calgary Stampeders. Possibly. Who knows? Money talks.
It does.
It does. Who knows? Maybe they get late into the season and Trey Ford asks for a trade, and Montreal's like, you know what? Fajardo's taking a little long to come back. Maybe come over here to. You know that's the thing. Like, if you're Trey Ford, even though you're getting misused in Edmonton, you're thinking like, man, Montreal's looking like they're hunting for a Grey Cup. That again, the ring also talks too.
You know what this kind of reminds me of?
What?
And I'm probably going the wrong direction of this.
Yeah.
But when you guys got Patrick Laine in Winnipeg as a Jet, he did horrible. Could you imagine some team overpaying for Trey Ford?
He didn't do horrible at first. He was a good power play guy. His shot was incredible. The problem was that he was slow, he just couldn't play defense as well.
Okay, but what I'm saying is he's only had one good year where he threw for 2,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. What I'm saying is, yep. Last year. Could you imagine if some team goes and pays him $300,000 to $400,000? And then he just shits the bed, and now all of a sudden you got to pay him this money. Unless the only way that you could do it is unless you do a Chad Kelly contract where you front load the contract and signing bonus and make the base not as much.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that But here's the thing. If we're talking about a new owner coming in and buying the team, they're spending all that money to acquire the Edmonton Elks. Then who knows how much they're going to want to throw around their money.
But you got to remember they also have a $5 million salary cap too.
Yep, there's also. Well, I know, but you get where I'm going. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But anyways, I don't think there's anything else we need. I think we pretty much have covered everything. Actually, a lot more than I thought we'd talk about. We were rolling, Rick.
And for the love of God, Chris Jones is not coming to Hamilton. People, get your crap together.
It's funny. We'd have like a meme video coming out of that. If that
because
like it would just be the start of the video of me just going
because if for some reason Milanovic got fired and Chris Jones took over as head coach, I would stop buying season tickets as a Ticat fan because then I know
they bring him in as like the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and then then look what happened with Steinhauer. Steinhauer went from defensive coordinator to head coach. Now he's president. Listen, I know how this.
The team extreme.
No, but I would keep Milanovic as an offensive coordinator. With how well he's turned Bo's career around this year. Oh, yeah. No, that's fair. But anyways, I digress.
That's Ticat Talk. Check that out. Link to the channel below. So, all in all, is there anything else?
What's going up first? This or the preview?
Preview is going up first. This will be coming out later.
Okay, so people that have seen this video, they would already have watched our week 6 or week 7 preview.
And if they haven't, they really should. And if you haven't, make sure you leave a like on that video and this one and subscribe and click the notification bell. It helps out a ton. If you're listening to this on Spotify, 5 stars, please. And thank you. That would be real sweet, real nice. And then coming out tomorrow, I'm saying that because of when we're recording this. Coming out tomorrow will be our interview with Derek Parrish. It had gotten pushed back. There was a housing situation. You probably heard all about it on the other video. And so that'll be coming out. now that we're finally able to kind of kick the can on that. And is there anything else you got, Rick?
No.
All right, perfect. Peace, love, and positivity to you all. Hope you guys have a wonderful day.